Welcome everyone to another sea trial. Today's sea trial is the Langley. Alright, like with every other sea trial, history, then a little bit of my own commentary about the ship, and we'll actually see it being played. So, first off, the Langley, the first carrier ever for the United States Navy. Woohoo! Now, this isn't the first ship to ever launch or recover a plane. Let's clear that up right now. That had been done beforehand to show principle. But it was the first designated carrier. Now, before this was a carrier, originally it was the armored cruiser Jupiter, laid down in 1912, if memory serves. President Taft was actually there when the keel was laid. The ship did a little bit of work in World War I, mostly just, transporting planes and officers and things of that nature. In World War II, she actually took on the role of a float plane tender, so her military engagement was very, very limited. Matter of fact, the only real engagement she had was being sunk. Alright. Japanese actually ambushed this and another ship, and rather than letting the ship fall into the hands of the Japanese, a group of American destroyers scuttled her with 2 torpedoes. So, yeah, that's just how they did things. Never mind the fact that it was a complete waste of resources. Alright, so, as you can see, pretty standard of what we know for aircraft carriers. You got your flat top there, which is a really nice wide target to hit with, like, HE, I might add. But now, here's the interesting thing. You look at the sides, alright? Most of the time when people are shooting, they're aiming in this general area here, which means they're probably going to shoot through this nice little superstructure sort of bracing here, right? So that actually provides you a surprising little advantage. Many times I've been trying to shoot at these things and my shots went right through it. Man, if I was actually on that ship, I'd be scared shitless seeing that. Alright, so let's get to some of the stats on this ship. Now, fully upgraded, it has 33,000 life. Its armor is 6 to 20, which means, yes, even a DD can penetrate this thing. It is probably one of the least armored things in the world. It's also probably one of the slowest ships in the game. Alright, hangar capacity when fully upgraded is 30 planes. You have 4 secondaries, which meh, and you have 20 AA guns, which are meh. Alright, so now with all carriers you have flight control. This is basically how you dictate what your loadout's going to be. I know it seems a little strange, but yeah. Alright, so you start off with 1-on-1. 1 fighter squadron, 1 torpedo bomber. Alright. You can advance it up to having 2 fighter squadrons or bombers. Or if you want to go more offensively, you take it up to 1 fighter, 2 torpedo bombers. Most players actually play it with 1 fighter, 2 torpedo bombers because they want to do damage, because in this game, damage is what matters. Now you get some upgrades here. They're not overly spectacular. Like the TS here. You look at its loadout, you look at its survivability, 570. The upgrade is actually kind of significant. It means, ship-based AA, which does not scale per ship, I might like to add. So it doesn't do nearly as much damage as it should. So, yeah. But this will allow you to stay in a fight a little bit longer, this, that, and the other. Now you have no upgrades for your torp bombers, unfortunately, and your torps do a maximum of 5,900. That is the maximum. That's not what they're going to do every time. Torp damage is relative to the ship you're hitting because of armor, placement of torpedo, things of that nature. So, now playing a carrier is actually really interesting. It's much more akin to playing an RTS in several aspects because it's a lot of micromanagement. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually really cool. Alright, so we've done the history, we've done all the funness. Let's get to the battle. Now, carriers are really a significant threat later on in the game. In the early parts of the game, they're more of an annoyance than anything else. Their torps don't really do that much against battleships, which are like probably one of the easiest targets. Most of the time, the carriers just go after each other, you know, because there's nothing slower than a Langley. I'm not even kidding about that. The Langley is the slowest ship in this damn game. Tier 1s can outrace this thing. I'm still trying to figure out how they got this through the Panama Canal. Alright. So as you can see, we get a top-down view, which, by the way, we can change by hitting the shift key. Good little tip there. By the way, on regular ships, hitting the shift key will instantly go to binocular mode. So, good to know. Alright, so our basic goal is to kind of hide behind things. That way we're not easily seen. We want to get fighters out as quickly as possible. We also want to get our bombers out as well. Now you can select your squadrons through the numerical system. 1 goes back to your ship for steering purposes. 2 is, in this case, is fighter, and 3 and 4 are torp bombers. So just clicking or hitting the number and then clicking on the map will give them or designate them orders. Now, they do have load times and launch times and things of that nature, so that is a slight annoyance. Alright. Already, we've got a nice little fighter screen here. Alright, you can actually select both torp bombers by doing simple RTS mechanics. It's actually quite nifty. Alright, most of the time, the carriers on that side will go there. Alright. So we got a Myogi. Still don't see their carrier, but
our team has taken the lead.
Alright. Now, once you select a target, you could actually change the angle of attack. I like doing a crisscross, just because I find that's actually probably one of the better ways of doing it. Now, it's always good to kind of keep your bombers together when you're attacking a single target. That way you can get a pincer on them. And what this basically does is it does a crisscross that can really cause some havoc for them. And we're just going to change that just a little bit. And we're going to change that just a little bit. Now, as you'll notice, both of them are basically going in on their torp runs at the same time. Well, roughly at the same time. So we got 5 hits on 6 hits. 6 hits with torps. That's actually pretty cool. Alright. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention to fighters. And I think I lost, yeah. Now that poor Myogi, I feel bad for him because he is just in a world of hurt. Alright. Like I said, we are the slowest moving ship at barely 15 knots. Alright, so our bombers have returned. And we've taken out one of their torp bombers, which is good, because the less of those they have, the better. Even in air fighting, they're not the greatest. Alright, so as you can tell, from recovery to launch, it's a little bit of time. Even with the skills, it's a little bit of time. Now, holding the Alt key gives you a more controlled
Our victory is in sight.
shot, which means you could actually drop them closer, but it does not track with it. It's a very, very unforgiving system, but it's also way more accurate. Now, in general, hitting a cruiser with carrier torps is a little difficult because they have high maneuverability. The St. Louis, on the other hand, is also well within that parameter. Okay, I need to change this. Actually, I need to not make him attack there because I don't want to kill my teammate. But he's going to ram it. Now, on the other hand, I can't. Well, he died, but it looks like I still launched torpedoes, which kind of sucks. Alright, so we have our next loadout here coming, and we're going to come here and we're going to try to hit him right there. Now,
the enemy team is
we
taking the
could
lead.
actually kill him, in theory. It's probably not, because he is relatively fast moving. Alright. So he's arcing, so we're going to adjust our torp spread accordingly. And we forced him to turn and open himself up. And I think... Ah! Damn you bastards. Well, that happens quite often. Many times the targets you want to hit versus the targets you actually get. Alright. But either way, I think we won. So that's how you play an aircraft carrier. That's the Langley. It's not a powerhouse. It really isn't, ladies and gentlemen. Carriers don't really start hitting a powerhouse till later on. But they add a very interesting dynamic to the game. And the Langley is just an amazing ship. I hope you all liked it. I love this ship. It's a lot of fun. Check it out when you get a chance. Till next time. Safe travels and fair winds.